So we are now joined by a huge guest for us, two-time Stanley Cup champion, the one and only Bryan Bickell. Bickell, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, great. Great to be on, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, so we are, so we are huge fans of yours from your time in Chicago, obviously. So we would love to hear a little bit about your time there. So we kind of went back to your Norfolk days, and we were looking at your roster that you guys played with back then. A lot of big names from your Stanley Cup teams. When you guys were all playing together, did you guys feel like you guys were about to start something really special, or was it just kind of like just going with the flow?
No, it was my first year pro, so it was just we're all young, dumb, and do stupid shit at the time. But we were just looking to play hockey, get our foot in the door. First year, couple years was in the minor leagues. My first year was in Norfolk, Virginia, which is first year coming out of the cold, then going to the beach. It was pretty nice to live that lifestyle. Being away from home. Being in the States for the first time, it was something really cool. It was the next step to, the ultimate goal is to play in the NHL, and it took me a couple of years to get in there. But my first year, you look at the guys, Bufflin and Versteeg, Brower, Crawford, and we had a couple of heavyweights on there too with Reed Lowe and David Kochi. So we had some nice protection if you did anything stupid, because the league was a lot tougher than it is now. But overall, it was one of the greatest years of my career.
Got any good stories about being in the A for a little bit with those guys? And anything going on in Norfolk that nobody really knows about?
No, it was good stories. All the boys love to go out and celebrate wins. We had a good team. We played Norfolk, and our home record was we had 30 plus 38 wins, I think, something ridiculous. I don't know why everyone decided to go to Norfolk and drink, but we just slept in our beds and we crushed them. But nothing too crazy. Living on the beach was kind of cool. You can get ready to go to practice and watch dolphins jump and then hit the ice and have some, casual beers at lunch and enjoy the lifestyle.
So once you finally got the call up, what was it like moving to Chicago? A lot of guys move here and they end up staying here. I mean, people love it here in Chicago. I mean, what was it like moving there and finally making it onto the NHL and playing with guys like Taze and Kane?
It was really cool, to make that step. I got called up over the three years in the minors. But just to get that foot after the 2010 team was my real chance. I had one of the main call-ups for the team to get that next step to, put my foot in the door and have a good career. That was the year I had bring up the stats. I had almost 20 goals and blah, blah, blah. I don't really know. It was a checking line with bowling. But it kind of kick-started my career. It's unbelievable. Chicago was from where it was when I got drafted in '04 with the fans and things like that. Obviously the fans were coming around the team with the conference finals in 2009, and then obviously winning the cup in 2010, and obviously the history that we've had over the years. It was a second away or second home to me, and it was definitely a good time to be a Hawk.
Yeah, so you talked about like when you came into the Hawks or you were drafted by the Hawks. That's kind of like, as we call it, the dark days of Chicago Blackhawk hockey. Was there any moment where you were just like, damn, like why couldn't I just gone somewhere else, or were you just excited to be part of like an original six team?
Yeah, I grew up just a small town out of Toronto, being a Leafs fan growing up, and having that original six, kind of feeling. The Hawks were a team that was up and coming. At times when I was playing the minors, I didn't know if I was going to get the chance, and at times I wanted to quit and just do the 9 to 5 and enjoy my friends, my family back home. But I had a good support system with, now my wife that we've been together for 17 years. She was there pushing me and driving me to, stick with it and never give up. Was a thing that I always used, and I think it paid off pretty good.
Yeah, just a little
Yeah,
bit. So you talked a little bit about how you came up around 2010. You got to be one of the Black Aces for that 2010 team, and you got to play in 4 games. What was that kind of experience being around that team like?
Oh, it was definitely cool. I was around the guys in 2010, played 4 playoff games. Being the Black Aces the previous years was definitely cool too. I remember we're in Vancouver. I think we played the year before, and then Quinville goes up to the Black Aces. There's 8 of us, and he's like, "All right, boys, we're in Vancouver. If something crazy happens with flu and food poisoning and about 4 other injuries, you're not really going to get the opportunity to play. So enjoy yourself, but at the same time, respect, the team." And, that's what we did. We're the team party. You think the Black Aces that you go party, in the cities that you're playing in, and then you get on ice and sweat it out. And it was definitely a cool part to be a Black Ace. But then, obviously, your ultimate goal is to play with the team and be around and win the ultimate goal.
So you guys are just kind of pre-partying for the cup runs, just getting ready, drinking as much as you can before you really start drinking with the boys.
All hockey players, I think, drink. I don't know about now, but back then it was one of the Tylenol for athletes, for hockey players is the old beers or whatever, to get you to kind of go to sleep at night. And times have changed obviously with everything, but those experiences that I had when I was younger had definitely helped me through my career, how I went at it every day.
So after the Hawks had won that cup, did you notice any kind of change in the locker room the following season, that the guys maybe had a little bit more pep in their step, or they kind of had more of a championship kind of attitude while you were there for pretty much the entire season as well?
Yeah, obviously coming off of a championship, you always have that, that bullseye on your chest and everybody wants to be you, but then also have that, swag that we were the best team in the league the year before. Obviously, the 2010 team, we lost a lot of, key pieces, that moved on with Ladd, obviously Prestige, Bufflin. You can go down the list of players that, move on, which that's what happened with the new cap era. And, players have to move in and out, and they, get paid because of their performance. And I think the Blackhawks of what they did, through that 6 years of, those runs and those cups that we had, kept a good core and put a lot of young players around us to, be successful. And I know they're rebuilding right now, and hopefully they can make the playoffs. But they've made some big moves this year. I'm looking forward to see what the Hawks are all about this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to imagine that those guys that have been there since the first one are probably starving right now for playoffs after having been there for 10 years straight. Going to be intense. Is there any, when the 2013 year when you guys hoisted the cup again, that was your first time actually playing in the whole playoffs. Was there anything that you did a little bit differently maybe during the offseason because it was a lockout year that kind of helped that team start the way it did?
It was tough. It was my contract year. I didn't know if I was going to be playing, in the NHL again. I don't know, the whole season was going to happen. I went overseas and played in, Czech Republic in the Austrian League. Played over there for 3 months, grinded out. There were like 2 practices, 2 workouts a day, and I was like, "What the hell am I doing here? This is ridiculous." But overall,
I want to drink some beers.
Definitely got. Yeah, well, I did drink a lot of beer there too, because I remember being in Czech Republic, they don't really speak a lot of English, and I was like, with the guys and had lunch, and I'm like, "Hey, can I get a water?" And then bring a beer. So I was like, "All right, I'll drink, I guess." But the lack of communication in English was, slim to none over there. But it was a good experience and got me really, really into shape for the 13 season. And obviously, there's a lot of guys that did that and got ready. And, you can look at the season we started, red hot, and kind of carried it through the playoffs to the cup.
So when we had Dave Bolin on recently, we kind of asked him about that year. When you guys were in the middle of that amazing point streak, were you guys able to do you think you were able to appreciate what you guys were doing in the moment, or was that something more you looked at once it was over, once the season was over?
Yeah, every game, especially in a shortened season, every point, every goal was really important, because you didn't know if you're going to make the playoffs. And obviously, for the start we had, it was fun. We went to the rink, excited, happy. We couldn't come off many losses. But then knowing every game, if we're down 2-0 in the third, we're going to come back and, push it to OT or get the win. We had that little bit of swag where, we knew we were going to win going into the game. A lot of teams were, looking at us and second guessing, are we going to win? And we never had that doubt in mind during that regular season that we're going to be, the best team in the league. And Glenville put some lines together, and we basically stuck with them all year with injuries here and there. But overall, that was, a pretty spectacular year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun year to watch you guys play for sure. And then once the playoffs hit, it was a blast. Like you said, even like as a fan, you could tell that you guys never were worried about being down or anything like that. You always knew you were in games. I mean, what's it like having that feeling no matter what the score is, you guys still feel like you could come back? And then for you personally, you had so many big goals in that whole playoff run. I mean, what was it like scoring those big time goals like that?
Yeah, it was definitely my bread and butter of my career, the 13 playoff run. It just started off the first game. I remember we were playing Minnesota, went to OT. I got the overtime winner. There's something about Minnesota. I think I have I don't know how many goals. 60, I don't know how many goals. Say,
I feel like everybody's got a lot of goals against Minnesota.
30 of them against that team. So it was always fun to play against those guys, because it seemed like I always got on the board. But it basically started then. Started as a checking line, and then with a couple injuries, and obviously the conference finals against Detroit, we had to shake some things up, and we're down 3-1 in the series. And then obviously we came back to win that series. And I was playing good hockey, and I was playing, obviously with Taves and Keane, where, it's pretty simple to play with those two. You just get the puck and, go to the net and go to the corners, and they do everything else. And a couple hit me on the way in, and I got a couple rebounds at the same time. So yeah, it was a fun time.
So what was going through your head during that whole in game 6 of the final, through that the famous 17 seconds? Like, because you come on, you score that goal, and then Bolin comes in and finishes it up. Like, were you able to even process what was going on before that game-winning goal went in?
Yeah, it was really. I can remember it was like it was yesterday. It was a moment where we're down. Obviously, what was it 2-1? Yeah, 2-1. And then we had like a minute and 50 something left, and then I looked to my left, and I was with Hayes and Kane. Kane's going down there, he's doing his thing, dangling, shooting, whatever. And then I looked to my left, and I'm like, oh shit, there's Handsies beside me. So then I was like, pull the goalie. We pulled the goalie. my attention is like I need to get to the front of that because eventually the puck's going to get there. Couple of plays in the corner, taser slid it through Big Char's legs. Wasn't looking to shoot it anywhere. I was just looking to hit it really hard. It went 5-hole, and then that's what kind of kickstart the 17 seconds. Huge celebration, excited, I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna go OT, maybe win it then, and then sitting on the bench, and then literally 17 seconds later, the next rush, and then boom, pounding in, and we're all like really freaking out. I was like trading sticks with legal sticks, and just emotionals were roller coaster was just going up and down, thinking we're gonna go to Game 7 OT and then winning a Stanley Cup in literally like 30 seconds. It was a crazy moment. I know, the fans and all that. People remember the historic 17 seconds.
So what are the parades like for you guys? Like, I mean, it's just, there's so many people, obviously, like being in the crowd, it's one thing, just having everybody around you, but like you guys in the middle of it, being up high, seeing everybody, what's it like during the parades?
It's something cool. Like we play for each other, we play for the team, but we play for the fans, and the Chicago Blackhawk fans are, if not the best, fan base in the world and in hockey by itself. Obviously it wasn't like that, and now it's something really big, and the team, the city, the fans have accepted what we've done and appreciated, and then with all the hard work and all the tears and blood and scars, and come out to celebrate a day that a lot of players that don't really get the opportunity to do, is to win the Stanley Cup and have that day. You'll never forget. I was lucky to do it a couple times. There's Hall of Famers that, never made the finals. It's one of those things that, that's something special, and have a city like Chicago behind us and celebrating in different ways. It was a cool moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're gonna be on that cup forever. So I mean, that's definitely awesome. So you guys were still kind of young in 2013. Any really good stories that stick out to you in after you guys won the cup, coming back from Boston or in Boston? Anything that really sticks out? I mean, there's got to be some good ones with Kaner or Shaw.
Stupid moments that players did after we won. It was always nice to win on the road. We won in Philly, and then we won in Boston. Boston's fucking rink was shit, if I can swear on the spot.
You can do whatever you want.
But the dressing room was the size of my garage, and it was tough to really get after. You can only have a team and the training staff and coaching staff, but nothing stupid. We partied for days. Like, it was like a day and a half, and I'm like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon the next day, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. We have a parade to get ready for, and I remember we're sleeping in home, and then I set an alarm to wake up that night, and I thought it was the next morning, and then I panicked and rushed. I'm like, we got ready for the parade. We need to get there. And it was the next night, and it just those moments that guys that you lived your whole life to do. We I can't say we were the hardest partiers, but we do it right, and the cup is definitely the biggest party, and we have that around. You can kind of have the key to the city and do whatever, and cops or whoever just kind of bow to you and move on, kind of thing.
Was just getting to show up wherever you want and just do whatever you want sounds pretty goddamn great.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, with those 3 cups that you guys won, 2, like you mentioned, being one in Philadelphia, one in Boston, and one at home. Was there anything is there anyone that's a little bit sweeter? Is it a little bit better to win one at home, or is it better to have that feeling of raising the cup in front of people that absolutely hate you at that moment?
It was nice to win on the road too, but it was definitely special to win it at home. Obviously, you have more time on the road with your obviously all your family and friends are there to fly in, because it's a clinching game, and then you have that time with them on the ice or the locker room or on the plane on the way home. But it was nice to win at home. You could, get all those fans fired up that you see to see the cup win at home. Then obviously you get to witness the shit show afterwards of the celebration, at Wrigleyville or the whole city. It's just, you get to go do, party with the fans that, truly stand behind us through the whole season and the years. And, it's bittersweet. I remember in 15 where we knew we were going to get to renovate the new locker room. So then we just trashed the shit out of the old one. And we just stupid shit. And I remember we went through about our sound system, and then we had another, our away dressing room, like sound system. We broke both of those. It was just like, we tore it up and did some demolition for the people that had to come in for sure.
Guys basically just became rock stars at the end of the year, huh?
Yeah, you win the cup, you are a rock star back in Canada, especially in Chicago. It's it's every kid's dream in Canada is to win the cup, and you're playing in your driveway or on the pond. You always have those moments, and to do them a couple times and then bring it back home and celebrate with your friends and family and the people that support you through your whole younger days. It's definitely cool for that too.
Yes, so you talked about bringing the cup home. Was there any difference between your two days with the cup between 13 and 15? I mean, obviously the first one you probably go all out for, so was the second one kind of used for more of a more intimate kind of situation?
Yeah, I think the first one, I actually had a cup day for 3 of them. They gave me a cup day in 2010 too.
Oh, awesome.
To bring it back home, where you started playing hockey, your local rink. I brought to my local where I used to play hardball. I was a big hardball guy in the summer. I didn't really concentrate too much on hockey. I just kind of just relaxed. Again, did a lot of partying. Brought it to the children's hospital. Brought my buddy's fishing show one year. Did a lot of partying. That's a big thing. It's the Stanley Cup. You drink out of it. You do stupid shit on it, and you have fun with it. You only get it for a day, so it could be the last day you ever see it, or again, you could win it again like we did.
You better make those 24 hours count. Just no sleep. That's what it's all about, right?
Oh yeah, it's you don't get much sleep, and at the end of the day, when it comes about 12 o'clock at night, you're kind of like, okay, I don't want the cup anymore because I'm so tired. But it's definitely experience that you sleep when a couple of days after and enjoy the cup when you have it.
How many cup parties did you go to? And what's the most you went to in 1 year?
Oh, I didn't go any. I just went to my own. I didn't go to any of my buddies or anything like that. It's kind of, with the shortened summer, you kind of get your own. And then I didn't really want to travel and hang out with my friends and stuff like that when they have their own day. It's just kind of, when you get your day, you spend it. And obviously we have the cup, weeks, or not weeks, per se, like days after the season, and then you kind of go around the town of your favorite restaurants, your favorite clubs, things like that, and show your respect, and people go crazy and do a lot of drinking and gain a lot of weight, and yeah, those kind of good things.
So going back to the end of your career, obviously it didn't end the way you would ever dream of it to. But the way you went out in Carolina in the shootout, just ripping a bomb right off the pipe. I think the post is still ringing in Carolina from that one. I mean, what was that moment like? I mean, just watching it gives you chills. What was it like for you on the ice?
It was definitely a good feeling. Going into getting traded and going to Carolina, getting a fresh start. I know the year before I got traded, I was up and down the minors, not knowing or what was really wrong. My game was, it was high, it was good, and all of a sudden it dropped really quick. So I was looking forward to get a fresh start in Carolina, and then obviously finding out the news a month into the season, then taking I don't know how many months, it was like 4 or 5 months to get everything stable, and then playing a month in the minors to get in shape and get my timing back, and then playing the last 4 games with Carolina to say goodbye to the game because I wasn't near anything that I could be good or felt good. But then also having that moment to score on your last shot, it was cool. That was my second ever penalty shot. Now I can say I'm better in Taves and Kane and shooting percentage and shootouts. But to do it like that, it was a cool moment.
So when you did find out, was there any moment where you're like, I'm never gonna be able to touch the ice again, or was it the whole time you were like, I'm gonna make it this season. I'm gonna make sure I get out on the ice again?
Yeah, well, I taking 5 months off and trying to get everything stable. I've never done that in my career, even during off seasons, and it was tough. With the MS side, it wasn't in the cards to proceed and to play. It wasn't right in my body and wasn't where it was to play at that top level. And so I was like, you know what, health and family is more important than the game. I always say there's a game during hockey and there's a life after hockey. And my life of hockey ended a little short to where I wanted, but I think over those 9 years or 10 years, it was pretty cool and a lot of fun.
Yeah. How are you feeling today? How is everything going with that?
What am I doing today? Yeah, it's tough. The transition. I remember my first year was a tough transition just to come out of hockey, but then obviously coming out of hockey with the diagnosis and the health. Mentally, it was tough, but I had good support around me with my wife and my family that helped me. I still watch hockey today and still think I could be out there, but I haven't worked out in 2 years. So that's one thing I hated doing to get ready for the season, is that summer grind of 5 days a week, 4 times a night. And I'm like, I'm just kicking back, being a dad, drinking a lot of beer, having a lot of parties, just living life where, I'm still 33 and I feel like, I can still have a good time before I get old.
And doing a lot of fishing too from your Instagram. See that?
Yeah, that was the thing that I did. I some guys golf, some guys, not a lot of guys fish, and that was my thing. That come off season was I go work out in the morning, and then the rest of the day I fish. And I do it a lot back home when the time is right. But my kids are kind of definitely cutting the time down. They're 5 and 3, so they're dipping in my fishing time. But to be around them growing up and missing those moments when I was playing, it's good but also stressful. There's every day I probably lose about 10 hairs a day, but they've been fun, and it's fun to watch them grow.
With the career pretty much wrapped up, is there anything that you absolutely like always think about other than like the Stanley Cups and like the goals, but like maybe if it was like an outstanding fight or like a hit, or like the fact that you just love playing one team because you just destroyed the shit out of them every time? Like, was there anything else that you just like think about all the time that you wish you can keep doing?
Yeah, just being around the guys. I think that's the biggest thing. Like for me in the locker room, I was pretty loose, and I feel like I was a funny guy to keep guys relaxed. Just being around the guys, traveling with the guys, just laughing, joking, all that, the stuff that you really miss is the biggest part. but now I can, hang around my buddies around here and kind of do the same thing. I'm in a beer league with them and, score about 4 or 5 goals a game and feel good about myself.
Be the
coming
superstar.
And then just crushing beers afterwards. That's fun. That's what kind of keeps me through the winters. And, yeah.
You've got to be the Gretzky of like chirping in the beer league.
Yeah, well, the game has changed. The bigger guys are coming out. It's even the beer league too. There's no, it's all skill. Like I wasn't the skilled guy, but I had a good shot. I could kind of shoot from everywhere and, hit the net and still score.
Well, we know after your career's kind of gone down, like ended, we know that you started a foundation, right? It's let me see. It was the Bryan and Amanda Bickell Foundation. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I like how you're scrolling through your paper and your questions there to find that one.
Sorry about that. This is like the name. I knew it was Bryan Bickell, and I was like, oh man. Then the name just blanked on me for your wife. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah. No, we started that, I don't know how many years ago. It was probably over 10 years ago. We started it to help, rescue and for the pitbull type dog. We rescued our dog 14 years ago, and then in Ontario we had it was banned. So then we came to Chicago and saw the big problem there. We just wanted to put our name behind them because they're a good dog. It's not the dog itself and the owner. And we help, rescue these dogs and find better homes for them because, a lot of dogs we use or we get them trained and use them as therapy dogs we work with a house, it's called the Hesta House on the south side of Chicago, for abused kids. And, we use therapy dogs for the kids. And now we're also starting to have another program is to give service dogs for, people with MS. Like for me, I'm pretty, normal. I have symptoms here and there, but for there's a lot of people that are really struggling where they're, in wheelchairs or struggling to have stability and have trouble walking. We're going to give, those people, support dogs and therapy dogs to just make their everyday tasks, easier and have that, emotional support too. Every day, when you come home, if you had a dog growing up, that dog was, happy to see you. And that's, something our foundation is going to start and do more of.
So, so for our listeners, it's the BickellFoundation.org, correct?
Yeah, the Bryan and Amanda Bickell Foundation.
Okay. Yeah, so the URL, so you guys can go there. I'm looking at the site right now. They have some events on there. They have a page for you guys to donate. It's a great cause, so definitely whatever you can do, definitely help out. That's for sure.
Is it a Chicago thing or is it kind of all over?
So yeah, we started in Chicago. We still have a lot of programs. We do clinics, different events. We have usually a gala that we have once a year. We just had a dinner in actually Rockford last week. Rockford, the fans supported and they wanted to do a dinner out there. So we do a bunch of different things. I remember one year we did the pub crawl, that pub crawl that goes to Wrigley or whatever. Different events kind of like that. We do. Do I know what's up next? No. But I know my wife would know, but, yeah, she's more of my manager now and it kind of keeps me running here, running there.
So we got you for a little bit longer here. I did want to go back to your playing days. John, I love hearing stories about Jonathan Toews. I might be a bias on our part, but we think he's probably one of the greatest captains in the league and in hockey history. What was it like kind of, playing with him and, him coming in so young and just walking into that leadership role? What was that like being a part of?
Yeah. Obviously being a named captain at a young age, and his big thing was the captain series. But he had to be serious. He was, 20 years old, being the captain of the Blackhawks to lead the team to multiple championships. You had to be serious. I know now he's more chilled and relaxed, and he's going through the paces and things like that. But he was a leader in the locker room and definitely on ice. The way he worked and how he played the game, it's tough. You can look at Kane. Kane's a great offensive player. His skill is, one of the best, if not the best in the league. And Taves is a two-way player that, can do it all and grinds the minutes, face-offs, defensively. He can do it, and that's what you want on a team and surround your team around. And that's what the Blackhawks did when, they picked him up in whatever 2006 or 5's draft. And, he's going to be there, and he's always going to be hot for sure.
You said you still watch hockey. Do you still keep in touch with most of the guys from the teams?
Yeah. Whenever I'm traveling, if there's any games that are, close by, I would, stop in. If they're playing the Leafs, I would, make my way down to the crazy city and, watch the games. But, I keep touch with them, give them props when they're doing good, and also give them shit when they're not doing good. And it's
just like a good teammate
that
would.
Brotherhood good brotherhood. That's is good. And obviously the convention was a month ago, so it was definitely cool to reminisce and catch up on some good old stories. So
you also said you were a Leafs fan growing up. Does it switch now? Like, you basically are a Hawk for life? Are you a Hawks fan now, or you still just a hockey guy?
Oh, 100% Hawks fan. Obviously, that was 9 years of my life. It was the Hawks, but obviously I'm still a Leafs fan. That's the only really channel I get on TV. But just to see what they're going through, it's something cool. They just can't get over that hump of the Boston Bruins. But I'm both.
You had no problem
Carolina
with.
fan. What's that?
Something you had no problem with.
No, you want to see the team do good. It's like, like the Raptors this year. You didn't think they were going to do something, and them to win it all. I'm saying I'm on the bandwagon to support them, but it's the Canadians. You support Canadians team, and you root the best for them. But obviously, you want to see your buddies and the Hawks or whatever team do the best they can do and win championships. Would be something cool. So now then I can go back to the parties and crash them and party with them.
No, you don't have to worry about getting in shape after.
Yeah, no. Just drinking, no shape.
Did you have any favorite? I mean, you got in quite a few fights through the years. Did you have any favorite one that stuck out to you, or one that you kind of got smoked that you'll always remember?
I definitely got smoked quite a bit. Being a bigger guy, like I wasn't a fighter. Like I would protect my players, or something comes up, I would step in and beat up a guy or take my legs, because again I was a bigger guy. And like I remember my first pro fight was against Matt Clarkner, which was like he played maybe average 3 minutes a game in his career, and now I had to fight him and got my shoes knocked off. But obviously the fights that you win, you always like, because then you feel good about yourself. But then the ones that you stand up for a teammate and things like that, I know the guys really appreciate it, and it makes you kind of comfortable out there. And that was the part of my role playing hockey, was to make room and kind of protect my players when needed.
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job of it, that's for sure. So one question we like to ask everybody is, what's your favorite all-time hockey memory? Like, could be from when you were a kid, could be through your NHL. Like any one thing that really stands out as a favorite.
Let's take out the cups.
One that's, there's so many that I don't know if I can just pinpoint one. I think obviously the the number one would be the 17 seconds goal. Obviously, it was a historic, goal to start I think one of the biggest comebacks in hockey's history to win a Stanley Cup in 17 seconds. Obviously, your first game, first goal, your last game, last goal, and things like that are, close number twos. And, but definitely the 17 seconds that, definitely helped me get paid and, support the family.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not be upset about getting paid after winning a cup?
Yeah. It was good. Like I had an opportunity to, leave and get paid more to play in a different city, but to be a part of the Hawks and now always be a part of the Hawks, you don't want to leave, something like that. And I know, winning again, that was the ultimate goal to do. And I could say I won it twice. So
yeah, I was gonna say good. It was a good thing you stuck around because you got your second cup, and I think I talk for every Hawks fan saying that you're definitely a Hawk for life.
well, I appreciate it. I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on. It's always fun talking to NHLers and Hawks and guys we watch every day. So we really appreciate you taking the time out, and thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, guys.